What is up, and welcome to another edition of the Thursday Night Grind. My name is Matt, and every Thursday night I go onto YouTube and I sharpen something on the bench at the American Edge, which is a sharpening business I run out of my basement in New Hampshire. We're on episode 32, so if you go to the playlist of the Thursday Night Grind, you'll see a lot of videos about sharpening stuff. So check that out if this sort of stuff interests you. Tonight is one of those nights where it would be a lot easier to not show up. I feel a little cooked tonight, it's just one of those nights. But I tell the guys in the guild, this is at the Guild of Professional Sharpeners, people who are looking to build a sharpening business, 1 hour a day, 5 days a week. If you show up like that, you're gonna make it happen. You'll build whatever you're trying to build, you gotta show up. So I'm showing up. I'm trying to lead by example here, man, but it'd be a lot easier to bail out on this one. Tonight, what I got lined up for you is an industrial paper cutter. Oh, man, okay, so I'm telling you right off, I think I'm going to put it in the title, right? Like, I'm not going to do this the way that, like, the big shops are going to do it, and, like, people are going to say, you're doing it wrong. But there's a whole story that follows, and like the reason the company keeps bringing me this blade, I think they have 3 blades in rotation, is because it performs, right? So let's get to that in a second, but first let's just talk real quick about the Guild of Professional Sharpers, because it is the guild that is bringing this Thursday Night Grind to you today. First thing, I just want to welcome 3 new dudes to the guild. We got George, Devin, and Vance. Wicked excited. That's a big jump, like we're growing, man. It's awesome. They're all going to be starting sharpening businesses, and I think we're all US based at the time, but our list of states is growing, which is really exciting for me. And then the monthly theme in the Guild of Professional Sharpeners this month is guerrilla marketing that works in 2020. And I took the first week to draft an article outlining my philosophy around guerrilla marketing, because I think it would be easy to misunderstand me on a lot of things. So I put that out there, and there's a bunch of other stuff about tooling. Doug put out some stuff about setting expectations with customers, which is another thing that we preach inside the guild. So if starting a business is something that interests you, specifically in the sharpening domain, knives and tools, be sure to check out guildofsharpeners.org. It's the place to be. Okay, on to the story about this big old blade. I'll give you the expedited version, right? So like, it started like this. Like, I got a call and it's like, hey, I got this blade. I'm at the end of your driveway and it doesn't fit in the box. I'm like, okay, like that's crazy. So I walk out there and like I see this 2-foot long blade. I'll show you some close-ups of it soon, but like it's the biggest blade I'd ever seen. I was like, whoa. And that what the deal was that this print shop not far from here, they were in their busiest season, right? Their printers are going 24/7. They print promotional material. The shop that had their dull blade lost it. So they bought a new one. The new one showed up dull. The one they were using was getting dull. And they were like, we don't have any options. Like this is borderline gonna really bag us. So I was like, okay. Like I don't know. I'll see what I can do, right? So I brought it to the basement and like I set it out, checked out the blade, and like I made it work. And then what happened was I get it back to the shop and they're like, that thing cut like dynamite. That blade now lasts twice as long as the blades that they get back from the other shop, and I'll tell you why. And the other thing is that the amount of material that I remove in sharpening is the bare amount that's needed. So the life of the blade is about forever, right? Like I was telling them there's probably going to be a time where you have to go back to the bed grinder, the company that has that industrial knife sharpener, and you're going to have to cut a brand new fresh hole bevel. And then, we get a few cycles, but we haven't got there yet. Bottom line is I'm removing approximately no material. And then the reason it's lasting so much longer is because I'm after I build the edge, right? Build a burr, I establish an edge. I'm refining it to 4,000 or 6,000 grit, which is way finer than what they're getting off the industrial bed grinder. I think if you're a bed grinder dude, like, let me know. I don't know. I've never even seen a machine in operation. I was just asked to solve a problem and I did, and now they keep coming back with more work. So that's the story about this. It's the wrong way to do it, right? Like you can leave the comment. I love comments down there, but I know like this isn't the right way to do it. But it works, and it might work better. It's a little bit laborious. I'm not going to show you the whole time that it takes to do this, and it might cost more. I don't even know. All right, with that, thanks for bearing with me. Let's take a look at both the blade and the jig that I use on the bench to make this happen. First, let's take a look at the blade and the setup here, right? So here's this blade out of the box that's 24 inches long. I'll show you the jig here in just a minute, the details of that. But ultimately, what you're going to see here is that I ultimately just put a compound bevel on it, right? You see that? So instead of grinding this whole bevel, I'm coming up a fraction of a degree, and I'm just putting a new edge, a new bevel on at the very edge. Compound bevel, right? Like, so when I got it, I was like, there's no way I can grind all of that material, but I can put a new edge on it, right? And then that's it. You know, what's the angle difference there? Like a degree, maybe half a degree, right? So if you're worried about the angle, like it's really no change. Like if the angle was a very purposefully designed angle on here, which I kind of doubt it, but anyway, so that's it. The issue with this rig and this blade is that this material is legit, and it takes a lot of work to build a burr up, right? So just so you see the process here, like on this. Actually, you know what? Let's just go take a look at the jig, and then I'll come back and show you the process. Okay, first I want to just show you this jig that I built, right? So this is a way to get a industrial cutter on the Edge Pro. This is some T-slotted aluminum with a couple little brackets here. This stuff is all available from McMaster Carr. I put some threaded rod in the end just to stabilize it against the bench as the weight gets out here. And then this is a little UHMW guide that fits underneath the Edge Pro to, and then tighten it up so that it holds its position on the Edge Pro. Okay, so now that you kind of get a feel for how this is, right? Let me just pick this up too so you can see the supports on it. Right, like these little guys right here. So now this can just slide right down the line, right? And I'm sawing away over here. Yeah, it's, you know, be super careful. This thing gets razor sharp. I cut myself already, actually, sadly. But all right, so that's it. Like, so now I just saw away. I'm going to be using a combination of, you know, whatever works. The 120 stone. I have a Atoma. I forget what grit this is, but there's a diamond stone. I'll work with that. I also have a 250 grit diamond matrix stone. I'm going to be trying that a little bit. So the biggest downside with doing this tool is that it just takes a long time with this procedure because that steel, it's just a lot of edge there, right? So anyway, let me do a little bit of grinding for you, but I'll spare you watching me grind the whole thing, and then we'll check in. Oh, then just so you know what to expect, sometimes the burr is a little hard to feel on the backside, so I keep just my thin bench knife here. This is an Opinel number 5, and I slide it up the back, and like sometimes I need that just to be able to feel the burr. And because it's the same thing that applies with any blade, like you got to build a burr the whole way, right? And sometimes the burr is apparent at one end or even part way down, and then you miss a spot, and that's just you gotta get a burr the whole way, or it's just not, you're not getting the job done. So let's do some grinding. Welcome back. I have done enough grinding to build a burr on the whole thing. I'm going to refine it 1 stone's worth up to the 650 diamond matrix stone before I remove the burr. And I'll show you that process here shortly. So moving on to the next stone. Since we're doing fine work here too, I might just paint the bevel just to make sure that my stone is getting all the way there. Yeah, perfect. Okay. Now I will take it off and use this 650 stone to remove the burr. Okay, so the whole thing's a little sketchy, right? Like this big 2-foot long blade that weighs a ton. Like it'd be real easy to hurt yourself with this, but this is one that, you know, you remove this burr and you inadvertently hit your hand down that blade, you'll see the blood before you feel the hurt. But this is all flat on the back side, so I'm just doing a little bit of work to make sure that I get that burr gone. And I will check before I put it back on the jig. Okay, that's awesome. No burr. All right, let's go up to the 1100 stone. Okay, so I took it up to 4,000 grit, removed the burr on the back, did a little honing stroke. I just want to show you this again. I think this is, yeah, that's a mark that's on there, came on there. But anyway, this is that compound bevel along the length of this 2-foot long industrial paper shear. And that refinement, again, the way that it shines there at the edge is because the edge is refined to a finer grit than everything else, right? Like all of this is the way it comes off of a bed grinder, and then with the stones take it to a mirror finish, which I believe is the reason that this blade, according to the operator of it, lasts twice as long. I welcome your thoughts and feedback in the comments on this video. Okay, there you have it, sharpening an industrial paper cutter on the Edge Pro the wrong but better way. One thing I didn't show you was wiping it down, so dry it off when you're done, then I spray with WD and wipe it down. This is probably, I was thinking about when I was doing it, this is probably the sketchiest thing that I do in the shop. Even with like the grinder spinning and all that, like this heavy blade, just like removing the burr or wiping it down, like it would be real easy to make a mistake and slice your finger across that. And Fortunately, no blood to show today, which is great. If you got value from this, make sure you leave a comment. Can you just say hi? I love it. Like YouTube will respect my channel more if there is some audience engagement. So please do that. In addition to the standard subscribe, thumbs up, hit the bell because every Thursday night this video comes out, which ends up being Friday morning for a lot of people because it takes me a while to do all this. So until next week, love you guys.